Chicago Booth might be one of the most misunderstood schools in the M7. People hear quant heavy, rigorous, the Chicago approach, a ton of Nobel laureates, and they make one of two decisions. They either decide it's a finance factory, they're only looking for traders and quant jocks and engineers. Or they decide it's an M7 school, so I'm just gonna throw in an application and copy paste my Harvard essays. Both of those candidates are going to get rejected, and they get rejected for the same reason. They never took the time to understand what Booth actually is. So today I'm going to tell you what Booth is actually like, who actually thrives there, and the one secret filter the AdCom is applying to your application that makes all the difference. It's MBA Monday. I'm Angela Guido, the founder of MBA Protocol. I've got 20 years of experience helping people get into their dream MBA programs, including many they never thought would say yes. And I am in your corner. So every week I'm answering one big question about MBA admissions, and today we're talking about Chicago Booth. Let's get into it. Quick note on why I have such strong opinions about this school. I actually went to Booth. I sat on the Dean Students Admissions Committee while I was a student, and over the years, I have helped more than 150 people get into Chicago Booth. So yeah, I'm a little biased. I think it's an extraordinary program, and I'm also unusually well positioned to tell you what the admissions committee is looking for because I've actually been in the room. At MBA Protocol, we help ambitious professionals, from consultants to private equity professionals to non-traditional applicants, get into their dream schools to power bold career pivots. Booth comes up a lot because it's a really great school if you're planning to make a dramatic move. Let's start with the basics and what you need to know. The school is located in Chicago, and more specifically in Hyde Park, on the University of Chicago's campus, about 7 miles from downtown Chicago. Unlike Columbia, which places you in the heart of the action in New York City, both the Chicago schools, Chicago and Kellogg, are a little bit outside of the city center. Hyde Park is a beautiful historic neighborhood that our clients tell us they absolutely love. Now, that doesn't mean you're cut off from the business world. Chicago is one of the strongest business ecosystems in the country, with deep roots in consulting, finance, consumer products, industrial goods, and even technology. And Booth is wired into all of it. There's a free shuttle that connects Hyde Park to downtown so that you can move between the Harper Center in Hyde Park and the Gleacher Center in central downtown Chicago. You get the focus of a campus and the reach of a big city, which is one of the things that our clients really love about Chicago Booth. Most people apply to Chicago's full-time MBA, which includes a summer internship in between 2 action-packed years of learning. But Booth is also famous for its evening MBA, its weekend MBA, and its global executive MBA, which also has campuses in London and Hong Kong. Those programs serve different professionals at different tenures with different needs, but all contain the same incredibly rigorous curriculum of the Chicago Booth MBA. Big difference between Booth and Columbia and Wharton is that it runs on the quarter system. That means you'll have 3 quarters in each of 2 years, and quarters move a bit faster than semesters. As you can imagine, it's a shorter period of time. Most students at Booth are taking 3 classes in 2 quarters and 4 classes in a 3rd quarter each year so that they can round out their entire curriculum required to graduate of 20 full courses during the 2 years. But the real story about Booth is the curriculum. It is the most flexible curriculum in the M7. There is only 1 required course for all students. That's the LEAD program. I'll say more about that 2 videos from now. And everything else you build yourself. You bid through Chicago's innovative iBid system. It's a free market. You're going to the home of the free market, so of course they're applying their own philosophy to their curriculum building process. You can place out of content that you already know well, taking advanced courses in the 3 prerequisites for most of the rest of the courses, and you can pull forward electives that are most interesting to you, starting potentially as early as quarter 1. For the applicants who've done the work to figure out what they want, this is heaven. And it is the #2 feature of Booth that our clients rave about the most. I'll get into number 1 in a second. The class size at Booth has approximately 635 students, broken into cohorts of about 60 to 70 people for the lead program. These cohorts are more designed for social cohesion than for learning teams. You'll compete against other cohorts for awards in various competitions, including an Olympics and the Golden Gargoyles in the annual cohort film competition. Roughly 35 to 37% international students, about 41% women. And although Booth has a strong representation from consulting, finance, technology, and entrepreneurship, it also has one of the most diverse student bodies from a background perspective, both educational and career. Again, a subject I'll talk about further in my 3rd video on Booth. Most students live in one of 2 orbits. They're either located in Streeterville, downtown Chicago, right by the train you need to take to get to the Hyde Park campus, and within a couple of blocks of Gleacher Center. In fact, 𝐂𝐸𝐬𝐵IZ, the Booth newspaper in 2024, estimated that about 50 to 60% of Booth students live in one building, Millennium Park Plaza. It's right by scenic Millennium Park. It's a high-rise. I lived there in my day. But don't worry, they've upgraded the facilities a lot since then. The rest of students live scattered somewhere throughout the city. Some in Hyde Park, some in Lincoln Park, some in the South Loop, some in River West. They live all over the place because Chicago is an amazing dynamic city with a lot of great options for housing. All right, now let's talk about the core of what Booth is really about. I've said it in other videos before, I'm gonna say it again. Booth is a school for people who genuinely want to learn. Or in other words, it's a school for nerds, in the good way. The University of Chicago is the birthplace of modern economics. Milton Friedman taught there, Eugene Fama taught there, Richard Thaler taught there, among many other Nobel Prize-winning economists and researchers that have contributed to the global body of knowledge on finance, markets, economics, and business. That is a genuine legacy. Not just a flex. And it shapes how every class is taught. Booth isn't teaching you to be a smoother communicator or a better networker or negotiator, although they do have courses on those subjects. Instead, it's teaching you how to think, how to weigh data and reason to come to conclusions and make sound business decisions. Let me tell you the 3 big reasons that I love Booth for my clients so that you can see if you would fit right in with the Boothies. The first thing is the academic intensity. I already flagged the academic depth. It's the whole brand of the Chicago approach. What I'll add is that the culture around it is real. Professors who are teaching you have done real research. They've published real papers. Unlike in a Harvard classroom where your professor is a conversation facilitator who may or may not have done any research of their own, the person standing at the front of the room in Chicago Booth is likely at the cutting edge of their field or attempting to reach it. So you're gonna wanna show up prepared. You're gonna wanna do your homework and come to class ready to learn. By the way, classes at Chicago Booth are 3 hours long. This is very different from some other programs. You're really there to absorb knowledge and wisdom from people who've studied in the field. The faculty also includes practitioners. So if you are interested in learning in a more hands-on approach, Booth offers that as well. It doesn't constrain the way professors can teach their courses. Many people will use a combination of lecture, case, homework, and exams. And in many cases, there are even hands-on tactical components so that you can learn things like investing and entrepreneurship in a more sort of trial and error way. Every course at Booth goes 10 to 25% deeper on the subject than most other MBA programs will. Take, for example, if you plan to go in investing, if you want to learn how to apply the Black-Scholes formula to calculate the fair price of an option, then you go to Wharton. If you want to learn how to derive the Black-Scholes formula for evaluating the fair price of an option from first principles so that you can own it and apply it in a variety of different ways, you go to Booth. And I want to be clear, that is a feature, not a warning label. In a future video, I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't count yourself out of attending Booth if what I just said intimidates you. But let's just put it this way. If you're treating the MBA as a 2-year break from the grind, Booth may not be the best place for you because you're either going to struggle to keep up or you're going to find yourself swept up in the academic energy and the enthusiasm of your classmates And you're going to end up spending a lot of time learning and studying during your 2 years at Booth. So if you want your actual thinking to change, if you want to walk out reasoning differently from the way you did when you walked in, Booth might be the best school for you. Second reason I love Booth for my clients is the flexibility. I'm the kind of person who likes to pick and choose my favorite things. I almost never go with the prefix menu, with the set course options. I want to choose the dishes, the experiences, the learning environments, and the courses that are best for me. So I loved the variety at Booth. And if you're the kind of person who likes freedom, then going to the home of the free markets might be your best choice. You choose your classes, where you sit, your case team, if there's a team-based component to a course, and your entire curriculum. FOMO and decision fatigue are two complaints that most MBA students have at some point during their coursework, and nowhere is that stronger than at Booth. Again, it is the most flexible curriculum on offer. There is no core. There are 3 prerequisite courses to the majority of electives and more advanced courses: statistics, economics, and accounting. And if you already have those courses, somewhere in your transcripts, you can either test out or go into a more advanced version of those courses before moving on to building the entire rest of your own curriculum. From hundreds of electives, I might add. Again, if you're hoping that the program is just going to hand you a direction and tell you where to go, Booth is probably not the place for you. But if you've done the work to understand what you need from the MBA or are excited and willing to do that work for yourself, nowhere offers a greater menu of options than Booth. The third reason I love Booth for my clients, and the number one reason that our clients genuinely do love Booth once they get there, is the culture. Booth runs on what they call the pay it forward culture. This means alumni mentor, recruit, and open doors for people coming after them. Inside the program, that shows up as students sharing preparation, recruiting tips, insider information, and connections. Students coach each other through recruiting. They support each other rather than knifing each other in the back. The B school Shark Tank stereotype does not apply to Booth. Add to that Hyde Park and Chicago itself, and you have a genuine business economy that the program is integrated into, along with a cost of living that's not gonna bankrupt you like the coasts might. Given that it's also one of the most diverse student bodies of people coming from all different educational and career backgrounds, you're likely to find your people at Booth. It's a big class, you won't get to know everyone, but among the roughly 635 other students you're there with, you will find lifelong friends that share your values, your ethics, and your passions. And it's a free market. You'll find your friends among the whole student body because there's almost no aspect of cases, groups, curriculum, etc. that are forced upon you. So who thrives there? Curious people. People who are genuinely excited to feel a little bit out of their intellectual depth on a daily basis, and people who are excited to self-direct and build their own path. Who struggles? People who want a highly structured, handheld experience, or people who secretly want a 2-year vacation. Now let me talk about the part that nobody talks about, and that is the fit filter. Here's what I want to shift from what it's actually like and why you'd like it to how you can actually get in. Because these two issues are connected more tightly at Booth than really any other program. In admissions, fit is the filter at Booth. At some schools, just putting forward a compelling story about who you are, a tight resume, and good statistics will be sufficient to get you in. At Booth, if you miss the layer of fit, you're going to get rejected. The committee is specifically filtering to understand if you know what Booth actually is and if that's actually what you want. So in other words, school fit isn't just a box to check here, it's really the whole filter. In my next video, I'm gonna break down this year's Booth essays and tell you how to approach them and show school fit across your entire application. But in this video, let me just say that there are 3 things that the AdCom is reading for. Number 1, genuine intellectual appetite. Do you love to think, or are you more focused on achieving efficiently? Booth wants the thinker. A highlight reel of results with no signs that you enjoy the messy part is not gonna fly. Trajectory over title. They're looking for people who are on a journey and who know what they want. That has to be clearly reflected in every aspect of your application. And finally, community investment. They're looking for people that they can count on to pay it forward and contribute within the Booth environment, in the Booth way, while they're at the campus. Why this is good news if you work with the MBA Protocol team on your applications? Because fit is almost impossible to fake. It comes from knowing exactly who you are, exactly what you want and why, and then how very specifically Booth fits in and helps you move in the direction you want to go. That's the discovery work. It's the career game planning. It's the self-knowledge. The applicants who nail Booth aren't better writers. They're clearer about who they are. So let's put it all together. Booth is a great school for people who love to learn, who want to chart their own course, and who are ready to invest in a community of diverse peers. The application is just one big test of whether you get that and want it. I've got 2 more videos in this series. In the next video, I'm gonna break down the Booth MBA application essays for 2026 so you can understand exactly how you want to approach them to show your best self and show fit with Booth. Spoiler alert, Booth blew up their entire application and actually made it a lot harder. After that, I'm gonna tackle the single most damaging myth about Booth and why many great candidates mistakenly rule it out, so that you can really decide if Booth is worth a shot for you. One closing thought: if Booth is on your list, the absolute best thing you can do right now isn't writing essays. It's getting genuinely specific about why Booth is on your list. Get really clear about why the Booth approach is the right one for you and where you're trying to go. That's the work we do with our clients at MBA Protocol, the career game planning and the self-discovery that makes all the difference in this year's incredibly tight Booth application. Last year, 90% of our Booth applicants got in, most of them with huge scholarships. If you'd like help applying to Booth, you know what to do. Head over to mbaprotocol.com/MBA and request a call with me and the team. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this video and found it useful, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps other people find our channel and fulfill their MBA dreams one Monday at a time. I will see you next week. If you think Booth might be the right school for you and you want to hear from the perspective of one of our admitted clients who's looking at attending Booth, check out this video right here. Number 1, thank you. If you think Booth